Hi, my name is Nicole Soares, owner and CEO of bSquared Credit. I am so excited to share this presentation with my partners today. I work with about 300 partners nationally, and I want to take a few minutes to talk about why partnering with bSquared Credit can help you close more loans and be more successful in your business, and really the value that we can provide to your clients as well. I also will dive into some credit education slides so that you can improve your understanding of how credit scores are calculated, and you can be able to share that knowledge with your clients as well. I always like to start our partnership presentations addressing the elephant in the room. So many of my partners have told me stories about working with credit repair clients and finding that they overpromise and underdeliver or overcharge their clients for services, or worse, enroll their clients in services and then fail to communicate updates, and then that ruins or negatively impacts the relationship you have with your clients. I want to tell you a little bit about my background and why bSquared Credit is different. I actually worked for Bank of America for 13 years, as well as FICO, the credit scoring company, for 5 years. I am truly a credit expert and understand how credit scores are calculated and how to read a credit report in order to identify errors and opportunities. And then I'm able to deploy credit coaching for your clients to help them understand what actions they can take to raise their credit scores. At the same time, I'm focused on credit repair, which is impacting the negative part of the credit score. Whether we like it or not, credit matters. Your credit score impacts so many life decisions: the loan that you get, the price you pay for that loan, whether you get a job. 65% of corporations utilize credit data to determine if they want to hire you. Credit plays an essential role in financial stability. I had a friend send me this slide, and I just love this donkey, and he's carrying this heavy cart. And this heavy cart to me represents debt, right? So the higher debt that you have, such as credit card debt, the lower scores that you're going to have, the higher rates and fees you're going to pay for the loans if you're lucky enough to get approved. This QR code and also the URL at the bottom of the screen takes you to an amazing data study that was recently published by Value Penguin. In the next slide, I actually pulled one graph that I just thought was so interesting to me. And what this represents is somebody's credit score at a lower income versus a high income. And what you'll see is there's a 160-point difference in credit scores on average for somebody who has low income versus high income. And again, please take the time to go to the data study if you want to learn more, because it dives into why that is. One of the most common questions I get, and I assume that this is something that you hear on a daily basis as well, is why when I go to Credit Karma does the website tell me my credit score is, let's say, a 680, but then when I go and apply for a loan, my loan officer tells me it's a 580 or 600. That's just so confusing. How is that even possible? So I created a guide called Credit Clarity. Please take a moment, download this guide, read it, share it with your partners and your customers. Anytime you get a question like this, send it off, because this guide breaks down the 3 major variables that impact credit score. It differs by bureau, by brand, and by day. So let's take bureau for a moment. There are 3 national credit bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Each of them are private companies that manage their own sets of credit reports, 230 million individual consumer credit reports. Their data differs because creditors and collection agencies that feed them their data, it's not mandated for them to report to all 3 credit bureaus. Some of them choose to report to 1, 2, or all 3. And I'll give you an example. In San Diego, if you get a parking ticket and you fail to pay it on time, it'll actually show up as a collection, as a City of San Diego collection, but only on your Experian credit report. So in that situation, your TransUnion and Equifax credit report would look clean. However, your Experian score could actually be 80 points lower just from the result of that one collection alone. So I'm going to skip brand for a second and go to day. Every day, new data could be getting updated to your credit report. I don't know if you recall, there was a commercial years ago for Credit Karma, and they talked about, don't tattoo your credit score on your arm. And the reason is because whenever new data from the creditors and collection agencies get added to your credit report, then a new score could be outputted. And the final variable is brand. And this to me is where there's so much confusion. There's not just one brand of credit score, which I think is what most people believe. There's a Vantage credit score, a FICO credit score, there's Credit Expert, but your Credit Karma report actually shows you your Vantage credit score. Vantage is a great tool for credit education. However, it is not utilized by lenders such as banks to decision loans. 90% of loan decisions are actually using FICO credit scores. So FICO, Fair Isaac, the company I worked for, has the most predictive and trusted credit score on the market, and therefore that's what banks use to decision loans. So I'm going to use a catch-up analogy to try to send this home for you. Think of Heinz as the FICO in credit scoring. Heinz is what restaurants use. It's what a lot of clients and taste tests actually say is the best ketchup on the market. But Heinz is actually often more expensive. So if I'm going and I'm throwing my son a birthday party and we're headed to the beach and probably at the end of the day I'm going to throw all the leftover condiments away, I might just buy the generic Vons or Albertsons ketchup that's on sale for $2.99. Yeah, when you look at the ingredients, it probably has food coloring and corn syrup. However, it really is still ketchup. Kids aren't going to know the difference. But when it comes to my house, the ketchup that's going to sit in my fridge for the next 2 years, I'm going to splurge and I'm going to pay $5.99 and I'm going to get the Heinz organic, maybe even spicy. Think of Heinz as the FICO in credit scoring. On this next slide, I want to just break down using these pie charts why Vantage credit scores and FICO credit scores can differ so much, because the credit bureau report data is the exact same, right? FICO and Vantage doesn't have their own credit reporting data. They go to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and they use those data sets, but they're just applying their analytics to be able to create the credit score. So FICO, as an example, if you look at the pie chart, 35% of the FICO credit score is based on payment history. Do you pay your bills on time? But then when you go to the Vantage score, Vantage says payment history is only 32% of their model. So right away, that's a 3% difference. So if you have derogatory information, late marks, collections, charge-offs, most likely your FICO credit score is going to be lower because FICO says 35% of their overall credit score is determined based on do you pay your bills on time. So let's go to the next largest impact of the credit score, and that's amount owed. So for FICO, this, by the way, the definition is the same on each of the brands. The definition is how much of your open to buy on your credit cards are you using? If you have a high balance to limit ratio, let's just say over 19%, then your FICO credit score will be impacted by up to 30%, where Vantage is only 23%. By the way, if you don't have any credit cards at all, you could be missing out on this whole part of the credit score. Okay, so now we're going to focus on just the FICO model. I hope that was helpful to understand why the credit scores can be so different. Literally 80 to 100 points is possible sometimes. But then the opposite could be true. Sometimes FICO could be higher than Vantage. So it's not black and white. It's just generally speaking, often FICO is lower. So the next part of the pie chart is 15% is length of credit history. 10% is both mix of account types. So do you have a mix of credit cards, installment loans, mortgages? 10%, the final 10% is inquiries and young credit on your credit report. So one thing I want to point out is, again, 35% of your overall credit score is do you pay your bills on time? That's something that as a credit repair person, I can help. You can either wait for items to age off your credit report when they reach maturity, which is generally a negative mark is about 7 years, or you can work with a credit repair specialist to help challenge and get those items off early. But the remaining 65% of the credit score is actually based on your good credit and how you transact and manage your good credit. And again, that's where we're really unique, because I can look at the overall credit and I can coach you on actions you can take to raise the 65% of your credit score, while I'm focused on helping you clean up the 35%. So I want to introduce you to Robert. Robert's an engineer, client of mine, and he came to me and said, I'm so frustrated. I went and Credit Karma told me my score was 715. So I go and I apply for an auto loan and my loan officer tells me it's a 651. How is it possible? He was so embarrassed and so upset because his pricing of his auto loan was substantially higher than they told him it would be because the credit score came back so much lower. So this is the spreadsheet that we created with Robert. We went to myfico.com and pulled all his FICO credit scores. We went to Identity IQ, which is one of our preferred vendors, and we pulled his Vantage credit scores. And then we looked at the difference between highs and lows. So this is where I'm going to go back to Heinz one more time and talk about FICO again, because just like in Heinz, we have regular, organic, spicy, right? Heinz packages and sells varieties of ketchup based on clients' preferences. Same thing with FICO. FICO packages an auto credit score, a bank card, a mortgage, and a general. So if the bank is processing an auto loan, they're most likely going to request the FICO auto model, credit scoring model, in order to decision their loan, because it's determined to be most predictive of risk for that application type. So you can see in Robert's situation, his Equifax Vantage score was 715, but his lowest FICO is his TransUnion Auto, which is 651. Actually, even FICO General TransUnion was 638. That's a spread of 77 points between all of Robert's FICO scores on the same day. All of these years of being in this industry, over 30 years, I've learned so much that I wanted to be able to compress it into guides and online courses, so clients that didn't want to invest in full service credit repair, which is what we've been offering for 11 years under bSquared Credit, they could just come in and they can consume the education and get the support that they need when they want it. We created under bSquared Credit a new do-it-yourself set of resources for clients that want to be able to get educated and empowered to improve their own credit score. And the beauty is they can still hire me for consulting services. They can still upgrade to full services. All of the typical bSquared Credit full services, done for you services is still available. But for the first time, we're bringing on do-it-yourself guides as well. So I'm really excited as we launch this to share this with you. My goal was to be able to offer unique services because one size does not fit all. The beauty of this partnership with bSquared Credit is we're here to help your credit challenge clients. I don't care if they need a 5-point improvement or a 200-point improvement. It doesn't matter what life event they suffered, whether it's because they went through a divorce or had a medical issue, or the pandemic decreased their income. We're here, we're able to help educate, evaluate, and empower them. And then we'll pass them back to you once their goals have been achieved so that you can complete their loan. At the end of this presentation deck, we took some common questions that we get from our clients and created an FAQ set of slides so that you can read through them and understand if this question comes to you, what it is we can deliver in response to, again, help you be more successful in building your business, as well as your clients that are credit challenged achieve their desired goals. Thank you so much for attending our Credit Clarity Workshop. I'm excited to work with you and your credit challenge clients to help us all be more successful in our journey and helping more clients. So thank you.